Camera. Follow me, camera. What? First off, why? Oh. Hello there. That at least solves one problem. Microphone working once again. Let's go back to this. Let's wake up here, camera. What's up with you? Oh. I wonder if I can change that on the fly. Don't think that I can. It doesn't even let me do it on the main screen. Why are my captions so far delayed behind me? Nothing is lagging tonight. Let's see. Did that knock myself off? Is that still working? Still looks like we're working there. Still looks like we're working there. Hello everyone. How are you? I hope you're doing lovely tonight. Is there anything here that's slowing it down? I don't know. It is so far behind. I don't know why it's doing that. Oh well, I don't care. You can hear me. I'm about ready to just turn captions off. Here, let's just do that. If you want to use captions, use the other ones, and I don't know if they're going to be up to date or not. The GoPro isn't working tonight, so the face detection is not going to be switching cameras. How's Twitch so delayed already? Like... Welcome in, Soph. Happy to see you, JK4T. Welcome in, they can see me. Hello, Will Poker. Happy to see everyone in and back. Regardless if I'm lagging or not. Confused. Oops. Getting water all over the scale. Got it all confused. It's just like me in streaming. Not sure what's causing this. I mean, Twitch says it's excellent, and then it's 30 seconds behind. Hi, John Ray. I'm a little bit delayed with things here. The things seem somewhat smooth, but they're still minor kinks. Hopefully you are well. Shuka. Beep 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 beep. I guess I'm moving captions boxing off into this PC. The problem is I don't know if the other computer can handle it right now. Thank you all for joining me tonight. Cheers. Yeah, that's still not acceptable amounts of lag. Am I still getting errors over here? Okay, so I still have stuff to fix. Alright, so let's get started with doing some dough. I need to make dough for tonight, which is actually our largest time sink on everything. So I should get that going. Water. $110 or so. 60s. Bread flour, not pizza flour. Why is it still playing? Why is... Okay, there we go, finally. Warm water and yeast. I'm gonna do a cup and a half to start. A bread flour to get dough started. A bit less liquid. Or a bit more liquid to dry. Throw in a pinch of salt. Give that a stir. That did do something. I want that working. Join at the start. Interesting. Very, very interesting. Waiting on these yeasties to wake up, if you're unfamiliar. I am doing quite well. Having a lovely day. Other than continued network lag issues. This has been almost a month-long thing at this point. I can already tell you that the yeast is at least somewhat alive because there is all sorts of lovely, like, tiger striping, like, look to the water there where the bubbles have formed into almost like lines. We've now got some of the yeast popping back up to the top. It's sort of interesting. It'll pop up to the top and then it'll fall back down again. They do this like cycle. They do that in like beer and stuff like that too. If you make mead or if you make beer, it's sort of interesting. It's almost mesmerizing sometime when you got them. You can just see them in the fight. They're just going up and down. Yeah, we're probably going to have to do the bot do captions from now on. I guess I don't need 3 versions of captions. Like I said, this is a wet dough at this point. I'm intending to add about another cup of flour into this. This allows us to get a little bit of our easy early kneading in with it being a wetter dough. Alright, let's go in with the rest of that flour. Shaken even. Everyone sort of has their own method for the perfect, cup of flour. Whether it's you pull it out and you level it with a spoon or a back of a knife. You tap it down. Some people tap it down until it's like completely packed as much as you can. I don't recommend that. I fill it up inside of the bag or in the container and then shake it back and forth, which loosens the whole thing up a little bit so it's not completely packed until it's even. That's how I do my measurements of volumetric. But volumetric, no matter really how you're doing it, is not going to be really accurate, especially compared to weight. Hi, Tiff Tiff. Hi, Muskeg. Quick and dirty alcohol sanitize of the board in case there was anything nasty on the bottom of the scale. Feeling pretty nice and soft here at this point. I think this is good for its first proof. Some of the nice olive oil in there. Why? I don't know. Because I felt like it. Like coat of oil on the outside helps it keep from losing moisture as it proofs. Though that may not be what you want for your bread, so I don't suggest you do that for everything. It works lovely for breads like this, focaccia and Detroit style and Sicilian style pizzas, where it's airy, fluffy, bready, doughy, crispy crust instead of thin crust. I'm personally sort of a fan of the two extremes. Like, I love me a good Detroit style with being fluffy and crispy on the outside and cheese to the edge. And on the other end, I also love me a really thin crust pizza. Like the Chicago thin crust style. I'm not a big fan of deep dish. Deep dish is a little bit like a pizza casserole. Is there anything that I can close to make this system not hate me as much? Close that. What we got down here and we'll see how it didn't seem to do much of anything. Oh well, I tried. So now that we got that set, we can things. I'm gonna start off by doing cheese. I do not have the availability of the wonderful Wisconsin brick style cheese, or Wisconsin brick cheese, which from my understanding and from reading is sort of like a combination of these two anyways. It's like you made a mozzarella with a higher fat content. And so I'm going to do, for the pizza tonight, half a brick of Monterey cheese. Monterey Jack, which is a higher fat cheese. Not pepper jack, not anything spicy. Yeah, the computer is lagging on encoding a little bit. It's the last sort of thing for me to tweak here to get it to be really. I'm to the point where I'm doing the lag stuff that everyone else normally looks at now. It greatly helped today versus last night in that I, for some reason, was not running OBS as a and so therefore it wasn't getting as it wasn't getting full control over the GPU. I am going to cube these. Thank you, Tiff. Yeah, I'm. So there's the cheese for our pizza tonight. Hello, Raiders. Thank you for that raid, Mr. Play Carrington. Hopefully you've had a lovely early evening. I'm making pizza, but I'm also a little laggy, so I understand and apologize if it isn't your tea tonight. I'm hoping to improve this little by little. Thank you so much for the raid. What were we up to tonight? I'll wait the like 3 minutes until you respond. Because I know I'm delayed. I know I'm lagged. Fine. They've been sitting in the fridge for a minute. I'm gonna chop up, though, finer than just halved. These are Kalamatas, not your typical just straight black olive. I guess at least here in the States, and in my case, I grew up basically, like, there might have been some fancier olives out there, but basically all I saw as a kid were black olives from a can or green olives with a pimento. And Kalamatas, I think, sort of popped up and got a bit more popular in local stores in the 90s, maybe. I just wasn't introduced to them as a kid. I did learn that it was only 125 years ago that we learned how to keep the temperatures on an oven. And it took an American to do it. America. Oh. Plague Harrington. That's a good one, bot. That. Nice. Onion, remembering that I have to prep here. We got our sauce. Pepperoni's already sliced. Olives, peppers. And this here is probably going to be enough onion. Yeah, I think we're there. I'm already set for my... What did I forget that I have on the list? What's in the dinner command that I put up there? Let's look at the calendar. Select. Why do I want to do anything? What the heck? Let's see. Monterey Jack, mozzarella, pepperoni, olives, peppers, onion, and homemade dough. I guess we're waiting on you. So I guess we're going to take an AFK, and hopefully that'll allow things to... Don't bet on it, though. That I don't know that Twitch really wants to bother spending their time doing with things like that these days. Alright, folks, so I think I am going to take 30 minutes? I think I'm just going to let the music play. I'm going to mute the microphones and set up a timer. And we'll wait on the... we'll have a watching Doe Poof stream here for a bit. Alright, see you folks back here in 30. Why am I not... There we go. Welcome in, everyone. Welcome back. Back from the break. Our dough has done some poofing. And I was just, before I unmuted myself, washing out my pan for this project. I do think I need to dry this out. And then we're going to add some more oil in here. Make sure this is well coated on the bottom. And the sides. I'm going to go over here to here. Let's see here. Dough goes in here eventually. I feel it moving. There we go. Well, I sort of wanted it on this side. And then a little bit like focaccia. No, this is a Detroit-style pizza. So there's no sourdough to it. This is just... started this fresh from fresh flour. We're using bread flour instead of pizza flour for this type of a crust as well. Alright, now that needs to rest at least another 20 minutes before we get going with our next steps with that. That would be cool. I did change some things around during the break to try and fix that. And at one point it seemed like I nearly broke everything. Okay, so that's good. We can throw you in here. Take a sip of my coffee. Yeah, the same issues I'm having right now tonight with Chef Jay Tay and last night with Chef Jay Tay's streams is the exact same issue that I had this morning on cutting glass. My setup makes it very not friendly to stop and restart. Anyone that's been watching my YouTube channel, I apologize, but there's been about a gazillion created upcoming streams that are just not happening. And yeah, made good progress on the stained glass today. I thought I was going to do more than I did, but we got a good, probably full stream tomorrow morning. Hopefully not laggy, where I will finish up the cleaning off the paper and applying the foil, and hopefully having our final piece of glass all together before we start soldering. We're looking pretty good on this side now. Just a little touch. We're pushing things a little bit still. This is good that I won't have to bother with the captions though, if it's gonna keep up with me now. I was just sort of quietly going about things because, I mean, I figured it was laggy and I wasn't going to try and drive chat. Sorting it out. One of these days I will have a lag-free stream again. One of these days. And by the time that probably happens, my ISP will upgrade things. So I am using pre-made sauce and pre-made pepperoni tonight. Well, I've already lost the battle in terms of time spent and money spent dealing with it. Ooh, nice one, Muskeg. Oh, I need to start the oven heating up. That's what I need to do over here. I wish it wasn't that way, but yeah. I mean, I was just livid. Like, I've been livid every time it's happened, but I was so livid that first time the bot went and alerted everyone to my stream. That was just absolute, I don't know, hot dog water. Wasn't that on the list at one point? Wonder what happened with that. I didn't delete it. I haven't deleted any of the ingredient submissions that didn't like time out by the standards that I have there. I'm pretty sure hot dog water was on there at one point. Maybe it was just hot dogs? And then again, I can't really buy hot dog water, so... And the whole idea of the ingredient challenge are things that I can purchase. Things I can purchase. I was almost happy with this, with the first stretch. Like, this stretched out to the corners very nicely for me. I was very happy with that. Like, I'm trying to give this a couple of minutes in order to allow it to rest and perhaps do a little bit more poofing before I topped it. Before I did a final stretch and topped it. But welcome in, Smith. I don't think I said hello to you earlier, but I think I was chatting with you in chat. But this stream, since the start of the stream, I started this dough during this stream. This one's a little bit quicker as far as making the actual dough. I'm pushing things a little bit. I mean, if you can give it an extra, 30 minutes, an hour here or there, that'll be better. Welcome in, Mimic. But I've been very happy how this has been turning out as it is. And then the... other types of doughs... Typically, you want to start with what's called a poolish, or there's other names for it. It's essentially a very wet, early dough that allows the yeast to work very easily. And they'll let that sit for a day or so ahead of time. And that'll give it some flavor. You can either do that partially a couple hours ahead of time, or you can do it like the day before and throw it in the refrigerator and leave it in the refrigerator overnight. And you can even leave it a couple of days, like I was saying. The real flavor in the dough largely coming from the funk. Like, if you got a funky dough, you got a flavorful dough. That's sort of how it seems to work. So, I mean, you're baking it, so you're killing most of whatever is giving you that flavor off, but it's flavor in it. So other doughs actually do take a bit longer. I'm going to actually spray a bit more olive oil over the top of this. Back to Tide. Nice. I'm also going to put sauce on top of cheese when it comes to this. If you take note of the fact that I'm not using like shredded small bits of cheese, these are chunks, that is going to give us a different profile when they melt. And so if I put the cheese down and then the sauce with this, the cheese as it melts is going to melt through the sauce and sort of become like these little pools of cheese intermixed with the sauce. I'm torn on if you should do the original Detroit style as I know it. The Buddy style is like cheese, and then your toppings are like on top of that. I think I'm going to do cheese and then toppings and then sauce. But I can see, looking at this, it's sort of like an angle that it has bubbled up a little bit since I put it in the pan. I don't think it's been 20 minutes, though. Not paying attention to how long the time has been. Why don't we wait until the oven hits 500 and then we'll work on topping the pie. So I hope you're all having a lovely Sunday. Nice relaxing day. I'm having a pretty good one. Other than the lag issues, but I mean, like, I've been dealing with that all month at this point. It's the culinary version, watch and paint dry. This one's a run it at 500. Also, this is one that you do want to have. Detroit style one, sort of needy. This is a steel pan. So it's not your typical. It's I forget the brand name of it. It was right there on it when I was looking at it earlier. It's stamped in there and I can't see it on this side. But if you look up Detroit style pizza pan, you will probably find it because they were sort of like the name in them. And that metal pan is what gets you that really crispy crust while keeping it being a light and fluffier style dough compared to New York. Mm-hmm. That would probably do it, or if I remember correctly, it was one that I bought directly from the company. I don't know. I'm not 100% on that one. I wish I remember the name of the company. It's right there. I just can't see it. It's underneath the dough. Lloyd pans. Two L's. Yep. No S, rather. Lloyd pans. And just quickly browsing their site, they apparently have 2 styles and 2 sizes. But this is obviously not the one with the, like, handles on the sides. The other one looked like it had handles or something along that line. It's in the ballpark of 10 by 14, 10 by 13, 10 by 14. Nine by 13 pan. It's pretty close. Heat up, oven. What the heck? Why don't you instantly heat whenever I command you to? You're supposed to do that. You're my oven. One of these days I'll put the promised new liners down and give this a scrubbing of scrubs. Supermarket I went to today to pick up the pepperoni was not happy with them as far as that today. I went back and forth like 2 or 3 times trying to find pepperoni because they typically have it in 2 places. In one place, it was completely emptied out, like it had been sold out, which that happens. That's nothing. The irritating part is the other one they had moved. How dare they move things? How dare they relocate things so they can clean shelves and things like that? They're supposed to be where I want them to be, not where... Same thing with the oven. The store, you're supposed to please me. Why isn't where I want it to be? Just don't get any respect. Had the break. Still waiting on it to heat up. Yeah, it's been keeping up now. Hopefully it hasn't been laggy at all for you now since the break, really, because I'm not seeing anything really here in the last 15-20 minutes as far as lag on my end. Let me check lag on that end. Let's see here. Ooh, that's not good. Let's see if that's just... Okay, dashboard, please repopulate. Quit scaring me. Did I jinx it? Alright, I think we're back from the ad. I think oven is up to temp. I think it's time to get this put together. And I hope I haven't stopped broadcasting, because I can't tell now, because it seems like it is on my PC, but I don't know. Well, I can see it on Twitch, so there's that. And one of the things with Detroit style is we're going out to the edge with our cheese. You want some pooling in the corners, you want all that good stuff. Hey, El Capitano. Welcome, welcome. Give this all a bit of a stir up here. Choosing to go with the sun-dried tomato pesto this time. Now we'll go in with the onions. pepperoni. I think of this as sort of light for pepperoni. What do you feel, chat? I mean, I'm doing everything else, so I don't want to go, like, overlapping full-on pepperoni. In fact, I think I'm going to leave that one right there. Do peppers here next. And then finally black olives. Let's check out the condition of this. Nope. I guess we'll go with this. Shaky cheese all over the top. Green canned parm. Or for you Canadians, red canned parm. Nice. All right, and so now that is ready to go into the oven. So why don't we throw it in the oven? "20-minute timer set. Let's get rid of this extra sun-dried tomato in the jars and all of that. I don't like glass containers in kitchens. I say that while I use like glass bowls quite a bit, but that's more because on stream. But I was sitting there with holding this in my hand over the pizza, and I was like, it would really be a bummer if this glass broke because I was sitting here stirring it over the... I've been through that experience actually a couple of times in professional kitchens. Happened to me in college too. College on I don't know if they still have Stage. I don't know what is still there. It's been 20 years. But when I was at the CIA in New York, you had Stage, which was when you first started at school, you ate on stage because the actual like lunchroom had like a stage like area to it. And so you would eat on stage, which you would eat a multi-course sit down fine dining style dinner multiple times a week at the beginning of school. And it's sort of like they train you to just understand the beginnings of what fine dining is like, even just sitting down and enjoying it. They give you all sorts of wonderful different flavors and stuff that you're not used to. They give you some nice food combinations. It's not super expensive, but, you know. And so I was on the other side of that, where towards the end of your associates, you're cooking on stage. Just before you go to restaurants, you do stage, you're cooking. And so the people that are just about to go to the school's restaurants are cooking for the newest students in the school. And I was there doing desserts when I was there in that class. And I was on the savory, I was taking savory side for everything. So it just happened that class I was doing desserts. And it was a tight kitchen, especially for a class kitchen. And all the glass racks, we would have stuff set up and prepped above us. And so we were doing, I forget if it was a custard or a mousse or some sort of soft dish in martini-like glasses. And we were prepping it in the actual like dishwasher racks. So they are all sitting there nicely, all so they can easily be individually grabbed out. And then we had stuff drop down on top of it and break glass on top of it. And we had to ditch the entire day because even though our dessert was done and sitting there and ready to be, ready to go out, it now maybe had pieces of broken glass in it. And some of the glasses broke in the racks when stuff fell down. That was a bummer. So that class missed out on whatever dessert that was. I think it was a curd. That's what it was. I think it was some sort of curd. And to respond to El Capitano about the whole CIA being a spy, I also have to point out that the CIA also has the FBI, which is the Food and Beverage Institute video series. That only killed 5 minutes. We got another 15 to go waiting on this thing to bake. Hey, even the bot knows that I'm not a spy. Good bot. Let's go back to seeing what the bot says. Obviously, I'm not streaming, so that's temporary or non-issue there. The stuff in back is not reporting that it's not reporting anything, which sort of makes you worry because it's supposed to be handling the stream before it goes out. Killer Ramen. I hope you live it through the night. Well, apparently Red Lobster is bringing back endless shrimp. Strip? Endless shrimp. After Endless Shrimp killed the company. Yeah, that's not... I don't know why the Times of India is reporting on the FDA. What else do we got here in news? There ain't nothing in food news, is there? Business news, they're talking about it being D-Day financially for Iran. However, after the whole US-Canada thing, it may be a bad day in our own market. Well, that too. I'll give you that. Private equity was definitely part of it. So if the rye chips make it through tomorrow as the winning ingredient, which it's sounding and looking like they will, what should I use rye chips to make for dessert? Nice. I've never followed med stuff as far as stocks and stuff like that. Like, it's all like, you know, it's like that. You know, they got a study, they got something passed, they got some big news, and I'm never going to be able to react to that news in enough time. But if you're a long-time investor, that's awesome. Oh, hey, you can actually see the timer there if you got large enough screen on it. You got a little less than 10 minutes there, 9.5 or so. It's getting harder and harder to do that sort of a thing. Like, my dad had me looking at stock books when I was like, you know, and like, it's all like, but it's been computer controlled all along, but it's really computer controlled now, where just, yeah. And like I have no, at this point I have like no, it seems so manipulated to me these days. And you know, like we went to war with Iran, the stock market went up 100 points. This does not compute. I don't understand it. And therefore, bread pudding is certainly something that could be. In fact, that's probably quite likely. The real problem here is not even the rye. It's that they're garlic rye chips. And garlic in desserts, well, I am familiar with the Stinking Rose, and I know they have a full menu with several garlic desserts. Garlic does not work with dessert. As far as foods that do not go with dessert, it is up there in probably the top 10 of things that do not go with dessert. Let's try the news, the other news. The basic news. Let's see. Scientists in Iceland drilled it straight into 900 degrees Celsius magma by accident. What's in the top 10 list? I don't know. I'm not going to remember all of them. I don't have good enough memory. I will say that herbs are in there. I can do hot sauce, but hot sauce is probably on the lower end. Or the upper end, depending on how you think about that. Hummus wouldn't be too terrible. I mean, it's just a pureed bean. So there's all sorts of things that could be done with that. Baba ganoush is a little bit more of a problem. But some of the other obvious ones are there too, like, you know, beef. You know, beef does not work great for dessert. Can I sneak it into dessert? Have I snuck... I don't know that I've snuck beef into dessert, but I've definitely snuck chicken into dessert in multiple forms. But chicken's mostly flavorless. Like, it doesn't do much. It gives a savoriness to it, but it's not too difficult to get over. There's some other, like, I think beef would be a lot harder in that, like, maybe a beef bouillon or beef broth or beef. Those should probably be on the list. Canned green beans would probably not be great for dessert. Well, I can deal with most green veg. Most green veg is not too bad. Like, I've made a damn good spinach cake in the past. Like, vibrant, bright green cake. Made with almond flour, too. It was gluten-free. Didn't taste like spinach at all, either. Like, it didn't, like, it tasted like a cake. The spinach was completely pureed into it. It just gave it color. Cabbage is worse. I've done cabbage before, and cooked cabbage, it changes the flavor, it changes the profile. And so if you try and cook cabbage into dessert, I've tried a couple of times, it does not work very well. Bacon is super easy. Like, there's all sorts of candied bacon recipes out there. You could just simply chocolate coat the bacon, but I'm not going to do that because of I'm respecting the bacon versus chocolate vote in the chat. I used to make pretty regularly a chocolate coated toffee, and a couple of times in the past I put bacon in the toffee and then coated it with chocolate. Last seconds until this thing comes out of the oven here. About ready. It's about ready. Wow, it's way off on the horizontal view. My apologies to horizontal view for the cutting board picture right now, but that isn't getting fixed right now. Turn the oven off now. Let's see what we got. Am I pulling this out, or is this going back in? No, that's going back in. My apologies, but that is not ready. Ah! I'm gonna give that 10 more minutes. It looked like it was doing well. It looked like we started to have a nice crust formation. But I saw no browning. I saw barely melted cheese. That needs a bit more, and so I put it in there another 10 minutes. This one wasn't great. I'm going to be doing this one on Monday. I'm going to be making this one up tomorrow, rather. This was supposed to be Wednesday's ingredient challenge. And due to network and lag and all of that, That didn't happen. So I am making that up again tomorrow. I am going to be doing apple donut holes with sweet cheddar glaze. Apple and cheddar go well together. I could have put it in like the crust and done an apple pie or an apple turnover. We're getting there, El Capitano. We're getting there. It should be a lot smoother now. Last night's lag, well, I've had a whole series of issues before last night, but I've largely gotten down to the point where I'm now just focusing on the individual PC problems. And this one, for the first half of the stream, was lagging much worse than it has been now. It's been a little bit here in the last, since I came back from the AFK. Last little bit. It's a little bit of optimization here and there. On this one, between last stream and this stream, the majority of it has been me forcing this computer to use the GPU for OBS. Like, the computer keeps trying to use the GPU for other things other than OBS on this PC. And I think I've somewhat successfully gotten it to pay attention to OBS at this point. Oh, hey. I totally missed that message, but I'll deal with that sometime soon. Four minutes left till pizza deliciousness. Who would have known the process has produced something? Isn't that sort of processive? I'm starting to push the edge on that again. On the longer I go here, there seems to be something building up as far as the lag issue, or something is consuming memory or something. I don't know if it's a memory leak or something along that line. Just increasively causing more work for the PC. One last news check for food stuff. Yeah, that was an odd recall. Like, I don't normally mention recalls too often unless there's something sort of funky about them, but because they happen every day. There's several every day. Dryers have recalled their fruit popsicles, their outshine bars, because of glass in them. Speaking of that earlier in the stream. I gotta remember to throw that one in the Discord, but I don't think it's a good one to chat on stream about. I still am not sure if this is there. No, I want to give this even longer. I don't know why this... I'm giving it another 5. I don't understand this. Maybe we'll turn the oven up too. Not getting any cheese browning at this point. The crust looks nicely formed and largely cooked through at this point, but not like crisped up. I'm sort of sad about how long this is taking. It doesn't normally take this long. It's probably because of the number of toppings that I put on top of this thing. Like, there was a lot of toppings on top of this thing. bunch of other news that I don't really like. Ben and Jerry's stuff I've covered and covered and covered. We don't need to talk about Taylor Farms. The other stuff is all sort of like local stuff as far as food that... Oh, that's another one. That's one, is it... I think it's Japan. I think I saw an article that Pink's, if anyone's familiar with the famous hot dog brand in LA, it's sort of like one location in LA. They're opening a location in Japan somewhere. Two minutes until I'm upset again that it's still not browned. But probably take it anyways. I'm still looking for articles that aren't just straight. Something local or just a straight ad. Have I got a go-to Indian food that I like? I've said before, Indian food has to be about my weakest knowledge point when it comes to, like, India is a giant country, and I know that they have a very diverse set of foods. They use so many spices that we don't see here on a normal basis. Do I have an Americanized Indian food that I enjoy? Like, I've made butter chicken a couple of times. I've made a couple of different other curries a couple of times. I don't know that any of them are my go-to. I'm going with it anyways. It's not... I don't think it's really... Like, we got a nice melt on that cheese. That cheese is definitely, popped through the sauce. We can see it there still. I just worry that the, we're going to want to let this sit in the pan for a couple of minutes. Allow it to carry over cook a little bit. Let that bottom develop even more. Before we break out this bad boy. But these parts along the edge here, these should be like crispy. They should be like browned. I'm not feeling like maybe I should have done 525 for this party all along, not just the last 10 minutes. So we're gonna need plate for holding this. Why don't we do photo time while we're waiting on this to darn it, making me hold it. It is way too hot here, by the way. I mean, I know it's summer, but it's Sonoma. It's not supposed to be 90 degrees. It's not supposed to be almost 100 degrees. It's not supposed to be reporting over 100 degrees in my truck. Source of my problem is John. Nah, John's cool. I want to rush it. We need to let this sit, though. We need to let it sit for a couple minutes and... Is it me, or does it seem like no one's making stuff for supermarkets anymore? Like new things. Like all the food startups that I've seen, all the food things that I've seen starting up in the last couple of years, the majority of them are just like big company, big corporate starting new label. It's not new startups creating new things to try. I know it's so tough, isn't it, Doom? I just want to cut into it right now. Right now. Yeah, I can't stand delivery services. I respect the very, 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 very small percentage of people using delivery services that actually need a delivery service that can't, do things themselves or can't get it from an individual store by themselves. I also hate that they're pressuring stores to give up delivery, and like most pizzerias don't do their own delivery anymore and stuff like that. It's just a bad business model. I don't know why it's boomed like this. Like, let's treat our our contract workers. They aren't employees. Let's give them bare minimum that we can in order to keep them interested while we profit off of an app and cause extra expenses for all the restaurants. Nice, soft. Yeah, that oven apparently didn't get hot enough. I don't know what went on there with the oven tonight. Yeah, this is part of this issue is definitely give the angle cam view. See, we got some nice golden to the outside there. I'd like it to be a little more golden. I'd like to be a little more crispy brown edges. And as I was saying, number of ingredients working against me. I think the oven was maybe working against me tonight too. I'm not sure what's with that. Let's give this a cut. So there we go. a mostly lag-free end of stream. We've been doing okay with the lag-free beginnings of streams, but to have a lag-free end of stream is sort of awesome. I hope to see all of you back here tomorrow morning for cutting glass, when I am going to be doing the rest of the foiling and cleaning of the rest of the glass. I don't think I'm going to get into soldering quite next stream, but I'm going to go and enjoy this. Also, tomorrow night, I will be back here cooking on stream once again, hopefully as lag-free as I am right now. And I will be making a potato, pepper, bacon, and cheddar powder soup. And then I'll be making apple donut holes with a sweet cheddar glaze for them. So I hope you come back and join me for both of those. If not, we got the Wednesday ingredient challenge. The vote is very much looking like it is going to be garlic and rye chips from Chex Mix. And Friday. What do I have in the schedule for Friday? What do I have in the schedule for Friday? I don't have anything in the schedule for Friday. And I don't have anything in the schedule for next week either. I'm going to have to look into it. Next week is going to be Midway Atoll. Since I'm doing both territories and states. I hope you come and join me for that. And,